ब्रह्मणे नमः। ॐ महेश्वराय नमः। ॐ विष्णवे नमः। ॐ ताण्डवे नमः। ॐ भरताय नमः। ॐ अभिनवगुप्तपादाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ प्रणम्य शिरसा देवो पितामहमहेश्वरो नाट्यशास्त्रं प्रवक्ष्यामि ब्रह्मणा यदुदाहृतम्।
Now we shall go to the 34th Karana, Dandapaksha. Urdhvajanam vidhayatha tasyopari latam yaset Dandapaksham tu tatproktam Karanam Nrtta vedibhihi.
Experts in Nrtta call that Karana Dandapaksham, wherein the Urdhvajanu is performed with the hand placed on it as Lata. Abhinavagupta says that the Urdhvajanu's chari is performed on both the sides. It's called Dandapaksham because on one side there is a resemblance of a stick through the position of the arm. So it gets the name Dandapaksha.
Yes, that's what Abhinavagupta says in the original. Urdhvajanucharyam kurvan tiryak prasarito iti latahastau vibhaya ekam latahastam tasya janunaha upari kshipet पुनः द्वितीयेन अंगेन एवं इत्येकत्र पार्श्वे दंडवत् बाहु समवस्थानम दंडपक्षम करणम.
Here, yes. Here, based on the sculptures, two interpretations are possible, but Paduka has integrated both the movements and made it into one movement. Yes. All the three figures have the right leg lifted as Urdhvajanu. That is Chidambaram, Kumbakonam and Tanjavur, with the Lata hand above it. The Tanjavur and Kumbakonam figures have the right hands on the knees, wherein the Chidambaram figure has it lifted up further. The other hand is as Rechita in Kumbakonam and Chidambaram. Chidambaram will have, yes. In Tanjavur figure, left hand is Pataka near the chest and right hand is Lata.
Dandapaksham dharajiva. Dandapaksham dharajiva.
We should add the Prambanan figure also. Mahati Prambanan, the push of the hand is from above the head. And like that.
The throw.
Yes.
Throw of the hand.
So it
the
is
throw of
there.
the hand. So you see in Prambanan, one hand is above the head like this. The other hand, where the left foot is in Urdhvajanu position, and the right hand is Lata. So it is like that. So you have to push. The throw is from above the head.
All three figures are identical with the left leg lifted. While the left hand is stretched on the knee as Danda, the other hand is near the head, depicting the face before it's being pushed up. So this is how it is. So three figures which are with Anchita head. So it looks like an animation of the same movement. That's what is there in
many of the Prambanan sculptures, we are able to see animation worked out with three figures. It's not Shiva and Parvati, it is all Shiva only, but there is one main figure and there are two figures behind, like in the film we superimpose. They have managed to superimpose the images to show animation. And what was one more miracle in my life was, I thought of animating
Yes.
with the help
Satara.
of two figures, Parvati and Shiva, and many of the figures in Brahmanan tallied. And the concept of animation is already found in Brahmana.
Which is earlier than Tanjavur.
Yes.
9th century.
And one more beautiful thing about Brahmanan sculpture, and also, of course, the Satara, Uttarachidanpuram sculptures, is the intermediate postures. Generally, a sculptor will be conversant with the conclusive or the beginnings, because there the sthiti will be more than gati. To capture a transitory posture is very difficult, and sculptors should be well informed and exposed to the technique of dance. Then only they will be knowing. And to recognize such sculptor matching such and such Karana is far more difficult. Unless you completely understand the course of the Karana, you cannot appreciate and identify the sculpture also.
And in the case of Brahmanan,
That has happened.
they are very haphazardly set there, placed there. And one more difficulty was there was no inscription. And nobody had earlier spoken about these Karanas.
Yes.
More or less, I think, the first to discover them and identify them definitely as Karana. Another thing is, because most of them have more than one figure, I would like to definitely state that they need not be taken to be Pindibandhas. It is not group formation, it is not to represent more than one dancer. Definitely they are meant for showing the
Karanas.
the
Course of the Karana.
yes, you see the dynamics of the movement. So it is just not a frozen moment, but it's a movement
That has
which
been
is
captured.
which has been captured in more than one figure.
That is very difficult.
In Satara, Devi's figure depicts the Urdhvajanuchari on the right. The right hand is stretched above the knee with a straight elbow, and left is stretched up at an angle as for Dandapaksha. In Shiva's figure, the main left hand is same as Devi's, while the right hand shows the end of the movement by being stretched crosswise on the left. The feet is in Mandalasthana, which shows the end of the chari. The secondary hands show the beginning of the movement on the left side, with the left hand bent in pataka, about to be pushed out, and the right hand stretched on its side, depicting the course of the action of raising. So this entire, when you see Parvati and Shiva sculptures, you have the entire movement which goes like this. Tam, tatak, dinna tam, tatak, dinna. The intermediate where you have pataka near the chest is the intermediate position of the Karana. So incorporating the Tanjavur figure also, we have the movement tam, takka, takka, dinna, tam. Tattak dinna tam.
Actually, bringing the hand across the chest is my own interpretation.
Like Karihasta.
Like Karihasta, that gives a gambhiryam to the whole movement. And I thought there is more connectivity instead of simply pushing both the hands from the chest. I thought it will be better to end this way and then take it again. You get that, it helps, gives momentum for the body, for the upper part of the body to give sort of a round movement. Konnundake.
The danda, the name of it, the
Stick.
The hand should be like a stick. It will be often and often registered.
But it will be like a stick when
Yes,
it comes
exactly.
down also. It will not be curved.
Bent.
If you take, for instance, the Silambatam. Silambatam is, it's a martial art. You fight with sticks.
Yes.
They keep rotating.
Yes.
the stick comes down, it comes to the corners, it goes up. So it is like that, it is almost like portraying the martial art of fighting with the stick. Danda.
Then shall we go to the 35th one, Bhujangatrastarecitam. Bhujangatrasitam kritva yatrobhavapi rechitau vamaparshvasthitau hastau Bhujangatrastarecitam. This is the shloka from Nrtta.
After performing the Bhujangatrasita Chari with Rechita Hastas, the hands get finally settled on the left side in Bhujangatrastarecitam. So, Abhinav Gupta only quotes the definition saying that Bhujangatrasita Chari and Rechita Hasta have to be used. The
Vidhaya Vavapi Hamsapakshau Drutta Brahmau Vamakshetragau Hastau Neyau. So he says about
the Hastas. The Tanjavur figure has the right foot lifted as Bhujangatrasita Karana. 3 hands are on the left sides with the 4th one indicating its course towards the left. The Chidambaram figure shows the last part of the Karana with the left hand as Rechita and the right stretched on the left as Dola, and the final Mandalasthana. Kumbakonam figure has been identified. It shows the course of Rechita and Dola, the hands. In Satara, Devi's figure has the right leg stretched to the left with the hands in Rechita. In Shiva's figure, the secondary hands are in Rechita while the primary hands are stretched to the left, marking the completion. And the feet are in
Mandalasthana.
Mandalasthana.
And Brahmanan has both the hands on the left hanging, and it's Mandalasthana. The right foot is in the process of being lowered. It's that part. It's almost crossed at the shank.
Crossed at the shank.
It's crossed at the shank. It is in the process of being lowered.
It's a position before it's being lowered onto
That's what I have observed. In Brahmanan, often and often, the most subtle and dynamic aspect of dance is touched upon. And that also indicates the antiquity and classicality of that. In Indian art, whether in poetry or music or sculpture or painting, as the days become later and later, when we come to the medieval period, the whole art enthusiasm and even the fervor of art will become static. And we have noticed that how it has changed from the Bharata Abhinav Gupta to Darpana schools, Darpana books and all. Again, the restriction, contraction and rigidity, that is all seen. And again, these are all corroborating evidences for that.
And the Valana that Bhujangatrasitam has in the Apakranta Chari, that the way in which the foot is to be twisted is something what I see exactly as I had reconstructed in Brahmanan. So these are certain nuances which I had evolved through practice that I find in Brahmanan.
The practicality of it is very important. For that only a performing artist who is well trained can only know.
Otherwise, if you simply stand in this position, have a Kunchita Pada near, turn, just near the shank, this could be anything.
It can come just like that.
It can be anything.
Without Valana, it can come.
But because both the hands are on the side, you connect it with Bhujangatrasita.
We'll do the entire movement. Tam, tat, yin, tam, Tatta Kitatakatam Tattakkadin Tam Tatta.
Trastharechitam. Bhujangatrastarecitam.
There is scared of snake and then extending the limbs.
But that rechitam is there bringing that concept of grace into it. The rechaka,
Yes.
which is connected with rechitam. Rechitam again, it is described as Hamsa Paksha hands,
Yes.
two Hamsa Paksha hands rotated and thrown out on both sides.
A quick rotation.
A quick rotation, but it cannot be, you understand, it can't be like,
It has to be curvilinear.
it will not be like modern dance, you know.
Jerks.
In cinema you have this dance, this kind of movement. It's not that. So it has to flow, and all the fingers have to be seen. It shouldn't be pataka. He is very definitely saying
Or surface.
Hamsa Paksha.
Yes.
Hamsa Paksha, like the
Fingers
feathers, like the feathers of the
Yes,
swan.
So tender.
So even for Lata, you know, I see some people having pataka. It should be Hamsa Paksha. Figures have to flow, and if you throw some water on the hand, that water should flow from the tips of all the fingers
Fantastic.
and not together.
They should branch out.
They should
And
branch
keep it.
out, and it can't be like this also.
Yes.
So
This is a very, very difficult thing. Throwing the hand with ease and precision, even while doing the plight and all that, just throw. It's very difficult. In all those places, Hamsa Paksha is the hand.
yes, Hamsa Paksha Nrtta Brahmanam is mentioned for
Rechita.
Rechita hands.
Now we will be going Nupura.
Nupuram.
Trikamsu valitam kritva lata rechit kaukaro nupurshcha tatha padaha karane nupure nyaset. This is the original.
In the Karana called Nupura, the sacrum is to be turned with the Lata and Rechita hands through the Nupura Pada. All three are in Mandalasthana in these sculptures. The Chidambaram figure has a perfect cross of the feet with the right foot placed behind as Agratala. The Kumbakonam figure has it placed almost flatly and also slightly behind the heel of the right. The Chidambaram and Tanjavur figures have the two hands as Rechita. Tanjavur has the other two as Kunchita bent inwards, probably to represent the course of the Lata hands. Chidambaram figure has a straight torso, whereas Tanjavur and Kumbakonam figures have the side bent on the left. Kumbakonam figure has the right hand portraying Rechita and the left showing Kunchita. The garland adds to the dynamism of the portrait in this sculpture.
The garland is flowing. That shows the movement. So when I study a sculpture, I take care of the frills of the garment and also the jewelry. You can see the dynamics of the movement through the position of the garland that is given.
That's why in Abhinavgupta, Tena Brahmarikaya Charya Trikavalanam Kritva. With the Brahmarika Chari, this Trikavalana should go on.
It turns.
Puram Jiva Samproktam Puram Jiva Samproktam.
In Prambanan, you see almost the last part after turning. The face, the profile of the face is seen. So it's the end. We have two types of Nupurams that. So the second type of Nupuram is seen in Prambanan.
So the first type, Tam. Tattakkadin dim tatta kittatakatam tattak dinna tat din tatta. This is the first type. The second type goes tam tattak dinna tat din. Profile.
அங்கே கீழே கீழே இருக்கிறது பாரு, டேர்ன் பண்ணு, அப்படியே டேர்ன் பண்ணு. This is the position that you see in Brahmana. So before the end.
It needs you to recognize these things.
In Satara, the body is turned backwards with the Rechita hands showing the process of gyration on the right side as indicated by the left foot, which is in Agratala. Shiva's figure shows the completion of the gyration with the body in the front and the hands showing the progress of Lata. And the right foot is in Agratala in front of the left. Yes. This is the finishing position of the Karana.
Uses are given. Any comment that I have given?
This is a very rare kind of Brahmari which is not popularly known or seen in India presently. Nupuram literally means a kind of anklet which gets connected to a toe ring. This is often seen worn by Manipuri dancers, and it is also a traditional jewellery which is often seen in Sanskrit literature being mentioned. The lifting of the foot obviously reveals the beauty of the anklet and hence the name.
Wonderful.
So when you lift the leg as Nupura, the anklet is seen.
Now we shall go to Vaishakharecitam. Rechito hastapadau cha kati griva cha rechita Vaishakhastanakena etat bhaved Vaishakharecitam.
The Karana is called Vaishakharecitam because the hands, feet, waist and neck are all to be in Rechita in the Vaishakhasthana. Abhinav Gupta quotes the definitions of the above said technical terms and just adds that this Karana is useful to depict riding.
Yes.
That's all he mentions.
Yes. Vaishakhasthanam etat karanam abhivahane. So
I have, in my third volume, I have added the drawings of peacock riding on elephant, horse and the chariot. So this is meant, because it is meant for Vinyoga, is meant for riding. Any kind of riding has to be done and it is left to the artist's imagination to use the right kind of movement for each vehicle. Mahati will now perform for boarding the peacock. Because Vaishakha, it also connects Subramanya. I take it as, riding peacock. This is one. You can have riding of chariot. Or the horse will be all in the same Vaishakhasthana.
And the elephant.
Elephant will be swaying, riding the elephant.
Here each of the sculptures are different in Chidambaram, Kumbakonam and Tanjavur. Tanjavur figure is in mandala posture. The Kumbakonam figure has an Urdhva Janu with right knee lifted.
That's why I gave this chariot. Each one has depicted a different way of riding.
Tanjavur figure has the right hand at the chest as Pataka, with the others spread out on their sides. And in Kumbakonam and Chidambaram, ellame ukkandu. Kumbakonam and Chidambaram figures have the hands at the chest, marking the beginning of a Rechita. When you do the chariot and all that.
Here Abhinav Gupta quoting Rahulaka on earlier authority, Grivayam Karayoh Katyam Padayoh Prathak Prathak Brahmanam Rechitam Vidyat he incidentally gives which types
How
of Kriyachittas
the
are to be
head has to move according to the vehicle.
waist, neck, hands, everything.
See, if it is horse, it will be like this.
Galloping.
If it is elephant,
Swaying
it will be
movement.
swaying. If it is chariot, it will be a forward movement like that. So it depends on, I am sitting and doing. So all this is, the Rechakas expected to be handled by the artist according to the situation.
It is something like adding salt to the curry. How much, to what extent, the taste, everything. There comes
And
the
how
minor
can you
sensitivities.
call this Bhava Vihina?
Not only that, this type of intangibility and subjectivity proves the individuality of the artist. Our arts are not stereotyped, they are not factory made. The individuality of the artist, manodharma of the artist, limitations,
Well, that
capacities.
Manodharma is within the fold of Shastra.
Shastra.
It's not as though something new is being brought in, that the Manodharma has to be in accordance with the context.
Of course.
That is very important, and for this, an artist has to be fully equipped with all that we see in Loka, number one, and definitely understand Shastra, and thirdly, understand our heritage, our Puranas, our Itihasas. Each character has to be depicted in such a way you do justice to the Kavi.
Exactly. Abhinavagupta's, one of the chief disciples, Kshemendra, he writes a treatise for poets, and more or less that is in convergence with any artist also. 100 things he has to know, she has to know. The person who becomes an artist should know that everything what all you told is added. And I want to add one more thing. You told Shastra has lot of permission, accommodation for creativity, and really creative and talented and well initiated people into various Shastras, they would add valuable things to Shastras. So many things which are beautified for these Karanas, they will go as part of the Shastra. If another Abhinavagupta comes to write a commentary on Nrtta Shastra, he or she will be adding these things to the Shastra. Then only Shastra Purnata will happen. If not, it will not. A true artist's contribution will become Shastra.
And as I said, imagination is one thing, but that imagination must be a flower from the trees which have roots in our tradition.
Certainly.
This is what is important. Why I am saying this is, I know there is a modern tendency, for example, somebody says, I can interpret Sita in my own way.
No, it's not possible.
You can't do that. You write your own new Ramayanam, then it is a different thing. Don't call it Ramayana.
Anandavardhana says, Samiti Siddharasa Prakyaha Yesha Ramayanadeha Kathashraya Nataidyojya Svecha Rasavirodhini. Siddharasa, they are established. One cannot take undue liberty with them.
So to say suddenly, to modernize Sita and say Sita would have preferred to marry Ravana is absolutely sacrilegious. It cannot be accepted. You cannot say Sita started a women's lib movement. She is a very powerful character, a person who could keep the 10-headed Ravana away from her with the heat of her modesty.
One grass leaf.
One grass leaf was enough for her. That was the strength of Sita, and you cannot weaken her by saying, oh, I would have preferred, because there is a poetry like that, modern poetry. This trend has to be questioned. You cannot say that I interpret Valmiki. When artists perform something based on a Kavi's work, not only Valmiki, it can be Bharatiyar, it can be any poet. What an artist has to do is to depict, give a rupa, give a form to the thought of the poet. This is most important. That is why whenever I take up any work, I meditate on the poet. I meditate on the poet and I try to get into his brain and understand how he had imagined that character. And I like to
do full justice to the character.
This is how I have been doing, and I think people have liked, I mean, scholars like you have appreciated, and lay people have also liked, because I had not done something which is against the original concept of the Kavi.
It's something like singing the Sangatis what Tyagaraja Swami composed and then adding our Sangatis without violating the Raga Dharma, Kriti Dharma, Sahitya Dharma and Mano Dharma.
Sahitya Dharma, definitely.
These are all very important.
These days even
Creative extension.
Sahitya Dharma is very important.
That's why Shankar Bhagatpada said, Sarvashastra vidapi asampradayavad murkhavadeva upekshaniyaha. If a person is not knowing the Sampradaya means the cherished aspects of the horrid heritage, if he is not able to know, then he should be kept aside like an ignorant person. Murkhavadeva upekshaniyaha.
I start talking, discussing, there will be a lot of deviation like the stories in Mahabharata. So let's try to restrict ourselves to Karanas.
In Satara, Devi's figure is in Vaishakasthana with the left hand extended above the thigh and the right hand raised as for Rechita. Both the hands are in Kataka Mukha, indicating riding. Shiva's figure also is in Vaishakasthana. It has the two main hands towards left in Kataka Mukha, indicating holding reins. The other two are in Rechita, which depicts another interpretation of the movement. Now we can go to the next.
Brahmarakam. Akshipta swastika pada karaucha udveshtitau tatha trikasya valanachaiva jneyam brahmarakam tutat.
Brahmarakam is that movement in which the foot is in the form of swastika through akshipta, with the hands as udveshtita and sacrum turned. Abhinav Gupta explains this as the performance of Akshiptachari with the hand whirled as Udveshtita. The sacrum is turned, thus releasing the cross of the feet caused by the chari, thus effecting a reeling movement. The whirling can be repeated on the same side.
The original says, Abhinav Gupta swastikaanantaram padam akshipya tat samakalam udveshtya tarjanadya bahirmukham iti udveshtitakam ekam hastam khatva trikavalanam kritva punardvitiyena angena tathaiva chakarat tad valananantaram swastika eva pada. The chakara indicates even after the valana, swastika pada should be maintained.
Yes.
Ekavachanat vivachanabhyam paryayena prayoge atra suchita. When it is in the singular and dual, then what will happen? We have to remember it carefully. That's what he suggests. So many meticulous details have been given to the commentator.
In the practical reconstruction,
we have the Akshiptachari performed from
Mandalasthana,
Akshipta, turn and finish. And the hands are Ulbana as seen in the Chidambaram figure. So the movement goes, yes. The other sculptures, Tanjavur figure of this Karana is another solid proof for the incompleteness of the work in Tanjavur. The hands and feet are quite smudged, but they show the preliminary stage of the carving. The right hand is raised and the left is lowered near the side as Kunchita. The right foot is seen crossed in front. Tanjavur and Chidambaram figures show the whirling on the left side. The left hand is raised and the right is on the chest in the Kumbakonam figure. The Chidambaram figure is, in spite of being damaged, suggests the Ulbana hands about to be raised to the shoulders. The Kumbakonam figure has the right foot crossed.
Chidambaram suggests also Kunchita elbow. It's not like this. When you turn, you have both Anchita and Kunchita. Only then the momentum for Brahmari comes from different parts of the body. Different types of Brahmaris can be done based on from where you take the momentum. It can be a Brahmari through the Kati. It can be a Brahmari through the elbow. It can be a Antar Brahmari in turn. It can be a Bahu Brahmari when you have to have the hand up. Then the Bahu is motivating the whole movement, and it's a outward Brahmari. And the hand helps. So different types of Brahmaris are here, and here it is definitely sure that with the Kunchita elbows, Chidambaram shows a kind of a turn which is based on cross of the legs, which is through the Akshiptachari.
How interconnected they are.
So this is how I arrived at the whole movement.
So the movement goes.
இது திருப்பிட்டே இருந்தேன்னாக்க தான் ஈஸியாக இருக்கும். You won't be able to turn just keeping like that static. So this has to keep on moving. The Anchita Kunchita hands have to keep on motivating the.
It means beauty is taken care of by the physical
kinetics.
And kinetics will be fulfilling its duty by beauty.
Ganesh, I can tell you, this is something like, in treatment, in physical treatment, there is one discipline called marma. Marma treatment.
Yes.
What they do is, it's a very old Indian way of treating. If you have a pain in your knee, the marma doctor will press your toe.
Yes.
It has nothing to do, for us it means nothing.
Unconnected.
It's unconnected. But only when the toe is pressed, the knee problem is solved immediately, instantaneously.
Yes.
It is like that. For the whole body to whirl, this movement of the Anchita Kunchita elbow is important. That you will understand. It's 50 years of practice, my body knows.
Exactly.
And this is what I am trying to communicate to the next generation.
Wonderful.
The Kumbakonam figure has the hand stretched. So we have one more interpretation.
Again, it has to be you have to keep on. Mahati, you have to keep on moving. It can't be static there. That is it. Again, it's the hand which helps.
Yes.
Or it could be the other way around.
It can't be just that.
It's something like
the
this
other
spark
way.
plug.
It can be the other way, inside.
Where you stretch and then bring it inside.
That stretching part is, in any case, the hand is important for.
This type of Brahmari.
Now the Kathak dancers move and they bring the hand out. They have the elbow action for their
Chakras.
chakra is very important.
the Satara figures, Devi's figure shows the beginning of the turning. The position of the right leg indicates end of the Akshiptachari, and then we have the reeling of the on the left side. The respective left hand is in Ulbana. Shiva's figure shows the completion of the rotation with the left foot crossed in front in Agratala.
After turning, you will end it in a cross only.
We again have three figures in Brahmanan. The legs of the first and second figure
Shows the beginning of Akshiptachari.
Yes, and it is actually merged. The leg of the first figure is seen
behind the lifted knee of the second figure.
The face of the first figure is turned towards the right, and the left leg is on the ground, but the right is unfortunately broken. We can see traces of right hand, and both the first and second figure have the left hand raised. And the second figure has the right hand almost as Karihasta, with the right knee as Parshva Janu, and the side is bent as Nrtta. The head is also tilted as Anchita on the right. The left foot is flat with the knee bent with the toes turned towards the side. The third figure of Brahmanan shows Janga Swastika. The right hand is Kunchita near the waist. The face and the left hand of Brahmanan are broken.
But the animation is clearly seen even with these three.
Again, it's a proof that it is not a pindi, it's not a group performance. He is showing the animation because the leg of one figure is juxtaposed with the one behind. It only shows that this is how the movement has to proceed, and the reeling is very clearly indicated here.
Yes.
And the figures have a lot of connection with the Satara Devi figures. So when we put the Brahmanan and Satara figures together, the order of the Karana will be Brahmanan figure 3, then Satara Devi figure, then Brahmanan figure 1, then Satara Shiva's figure, and then Brahmanan second figure. If we put all these three, all these sculptures in this order, we get the entire movement animated.
Abhinavgupta gives the Vinyoga for this Brahmarakam etat uddhata paribhramana vishaye prayuktavijam. In quick, swift movements that has to be employed.
And the name also suggests Brahmara, which is a B.
A reeling.
So you have a reeling and fast repeated movement of the same.
And then Chatur.
I have shown a top here.
Yes. In Sanskrit that is called Brahmarakam.
In my third volume, I have shown indicated the movement with a top.
Yes. In Sanskrit that is called
And also bees.
Yes.
A creeper and bees. It keeps moving like
Brahmara and top is Brahmarakam.